Hey everybody, it's Father John here. I've been a deacon and a priest for 10 years. I was ordained a deacon on May 21st, 2011. And one of the most exciting things and upbeat things for a priest or a deacon to do is baptism. Celebrating baptisms, like everybody's in a good mood usually. The parents are in a good mood, the godparents, the grandparents, the baby, it depends on the day. Sometimes we lose that joy, right? We get caught down in the mundane of things and we don't, like when we get kids ready for confirmation, I can't always say there's that same upbeat spirit. We're working on it, but it's a little bit of a different time. And as parents, I hope you remember the day of your child's baptism. Do you know the date? Give it a minute. September 20th, 1975, right here, Our Lady of Lourdes Church. On the day of baptism, when you brought your child either to this church or to another one to celebrate that sacrament, you made promises. And one of the real promises you made as parents was to raise your child in the faith. That's why you're part of the Faith Formation Program, or you're part of Our Lady Queen of Apostles Regional Catholic School, or you commit to that education and formation in the life of the community because you made those promises at baptism. And so what do those promises mean? Well, they mean praying every day as a family. They mean coming to Sunday Eucharist, screaming kids, most welcome. Screaming parents, most welcome. It means enrolling your child in some kind of process of formation so they learn some of the basic tenets of the Catholic faith, and ultimately celebrating the sacraments. So they learn what it is to know God's forgiveness and reconciliation, to come to the table of the Lord, the Eucharist, and ultimately to be confirmed, to kind of, if you will, take this on their own. And so this year we're going to continue in our Faith Formation Program building on what we did last year. And last year we started that Family and Faith program for students in levels 1 to 6. And honestly, that was a tough adjustment for everybody. And I think you'd agree. Tough adjustment for us. And we did that gathering here in this church. We did that in the midst of a pandemic. We did that in the midst of people being afraid. We did it via technology. We did whatever we could. And we called parents to go back to those baptismal promises and to carry out this formation in faith. And so we're going to continue to build on that from what we did last year. Now I know hearing that might bring some different emotions and feelings. We learned a lot from doing the Family and Faith program last year. Some things that were really good, and some of you gave some great witness stories about how you talk to your kids about things you never talked about before. Awesome. And some of you gave some really good criticism and feedback about how we might do something like this better in the future. And so that's our hope this year ahead. And so the style of the Family and Faith, or the structure of it, will remain the same. Parents will be trained and formed here at St. John's, and they'll go out and share that with their kids. We've learned how to even do that better. All right, so let's just walk through this carefully. I'm not going to get into dates and times. You'll get all that in the separate email attached to this, or that will follow. But a couple things that you should be ready for. First is that we'll have an opening celebration for the Family and Faith program for certain levels, and you'll get information about that. And then we'll have those monthly parent meetings, either here in the church, in person, or in the school auditorium. And just like we did this year, we'll offer them multiple times so that we hope it'll never be too crowded. Because honestly, we all want to still keep, probably a lot of us are just trying to work to keep a little space in these days. And if we can provide some of that space, let's do that. So our plan is to offer each of those sessions 4 times. All right, so you'll have a good chance to kind of pick one that works for you and for your family. Then throughout that month, you're going to take what you've learned and the information that you're given and kind of share that with your child or with your children. And again, we've learned some better ways about how to present that, especially when you have multiple children. And I have a kid in 1st grade and a kid in 6th grade, and they barely talk to each other. And now I got to get them to, we got it. So we'll work on that and try to do that. Those meetings are required. And that's the commitment that you make to be part of the Faith Formation Program, and one of the ways you live out those baptismal promises. Secondly, one of the real absences of last year, one of the real heartbreakers, was there were no kids. We really weren't able to have many events that brought young people to the church. And think about last year and those times and limits and fears, and it was just a different time. This year, we're hoping that at least every other monthly meeting will involve parents and kids. And because we're going to be able to be in person this year, we're hoping to make them more interactive. That really was the idea. Last year, it was kind of Father John giving a TED Talk, all right? That wasn't the plan. You probably have heard enough of Father John. And the idea of those sessions is really to be a little more interactive and a little more connecting. And so we hope to do that with parents with each other. We hope to do that with parents and kids, and together make some of those experiences of the Family and Faith program come alive. Third is throughout the year, we'll have certain events that we're going to invite you and strongly encourage you to be part of. You know, so many of you commented on we had the church tours last year, and people love that. Well, now that we have more room and space, we're going to do even more of those. We have other ideas in mind of ways that we're going to bring you together here outside of the quote-unquote required times to help bring those lessons and the content of each month alive. We're going to ask our Family Life Ministry to help, and we're going to need help with catechists and volunteers, and we have a lot of things in plans, and we'll see how they all go. But our great hope is that we provide a number of ways for us to come together now as a community of faith, to learn about this faith and to support and to encourage and to really, in some ways at times, honestly, challenge one another to live this faith out. If you have a child in level 1 or 2, there'll be some additional requirements because those are those preparation years for you and for your child about the sacraments of reconciliation and First Holy Communion. And so look for information about that. If you're in those levels, those are great and exciting times. And we're planning some nice retreats and some prayer experiences just to help you and your family be better prepared to receive those sacraments as well. So that's kind of the overview of the Family and Faith program of what we're looking forward to this year. Is it different than what we were used to a few years ago? You bet. Is it going to take some adjustment? Oh man, absolutely. Are there real benefits? Without a doubt. You know, the benefits include time, it includes family coming together, it includes us kind of working together as a parish on the same ideas and topics, and it includes a chance for us to share faith with one another in a whole range of ways. All that and much, much more. So we gather here around this font, and we're surrounded by this Paschal candle, symbols to us of the new life of baptism and the new light that comes with Christ. I'm really excited for this year and the many ways we're going to come together as families in faith in our faith formation program. And I hope you will be too. Could I ask one thing? Let's just keep a good spirit, okay? St. Ignatius is one of my favorite saints, and in the spiritual exercises he says, you know, even when you disagree, even when there's struggle, always try to see the good. Always try to see the good in the other. And so can we commit to doing that, okay, to really try to see the good in the other? Even if we might have some challenges of working out some of the details, we're all trying to do the best thing possible to help you, your child, and your entire family come to know this beautiful Catholic faith that we're proud to be part of. Have a blessed day, everyone.